welcome to another episode of Chosen for Greatness. I am your host, Sarah B, and today I have an amazing woman that is going to dive deeper with us about her experience with her ministry and, of course, being the CEO of an amazing fashion line called Yaldah, Issa. So please give it up for Miss Valencia. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad that you are here.
I know.
You look incredible.
So you do.
Amazing. So we're going to go ahead and get started with question number 1. So how did you receive the call of God over your life?
Well, I'm just going to speak a little bit about how I received the calling of God upon my life. I think in a moment where I was questioning myself about everything about my life, you know. We're living in a society where they will uphold you, but deep within you just have this void and you're trying to fill. And I think that was in that moment where I was just trying to ask God, what do you call me to do? Because I'm tired of this cycle, and I'm tired of seeing how my life is going. And from that moment, I was able to clearly, hear God's voice and tell me exactly what I'm supposed to do. That's from that moment that I decided to give myself to God. And also, we gotta know that everyone has their own background. And from that place, I was just you know what? I have people around me, but there's something inside of me that still is void, and I'm trying to fill that up. And then I found God.
Yeah.
That's how I actually give myself to God.
I love it. That's beautiful. So what inspired you to go into the fashion industry and create your fashion business, Yaldah Issa?
Oh, well, since I was a kid, I would say, I always liked fashion.
Okay.
It was my thing. Yeah. And then my parents would just tell me, I would watch fashion show on TV and all that. Yeah. It was just a fun thing that I like to do, right? Later on, I wanted to go to school in my country for fashion, but unfortunately, because of the condition of our country, fashion is not really something that you can earn money from it, right? And most of the time, we're in survival mode, everyone there. So it was not something that I was willing to do at that time. But whenever I was trying to focus myself to God and focus everything, and I think that I got to a moment where I was actually also asking God, giving yourself to God is one step, right. And then the other step is trying to find out what can you do, outside of, I have a calling of God, right. And all what can you do with what you have? So I think that in that moment I was still praying, and one day God spoke to me clearly about fashion, and I was like, what? Because sometimes you have actually a lot of things, I love fashion, I love interior design, things like that, a lot of things. And I was trying to ask God, what do you want me exactly to do? Because I'm not about to just do something because I want to do it, but then regret it later. And for people that don't know, I graduated from college in computer science. And so in that moment, I was just trying to do it because, hey, I'm good at math and all that. And I was let me just do something that I think I'm good at. Right. But later on, I just realized that this is not my thing. When you do something out of, I'm just doing it because I have to do it, but not because you like to do it. That's what was happening. And I was getting to a moment, I was God, stop everything. And I went to a moment of prayer. And I was just praying to God. I was God, hey, the Bible declares, I know this verse that really helped me as I was praying. They were talking about John 1. The Bible says that He was the light, and because of that light became flesh. I'm just emphasizing, right? And I stood in my closet room, and I started realizing that the reason why sometimes you don't know what you actually called to do, it's because you're still in darkness. When the light comes, it gives you illumination. All of a sudden, things that you felt I don't know how to do. But when you encounter the light of God, it's you have illumination on what to do. That's what happened. It's I was in darkness trying to figure out what is happening. And then the moment I encountered that light, I knew exactly what to do.
Yeah.
That's how I came up with the idea. And then, Yaldah was born from that place.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what exactly does Yaldah Issa mean?
For people that don't know, Yaldah is simply means a woman that has found favor.
Wow, a
Yeah.
woman that has found favor. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. So how do you tie fashion with your relationship with God?
That question.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I was like trying to figure that out, I was like, oh, this is a hard question.
Yeah.
How do you combine fashion and God? Because fashion is a field that has a lot of corruption and a lot of things that if you are not really careful, you will, lose yourself and forget about God, right? But I got to that place, I think that I was like, even as I was coming here, I was like in a little moment of God, with God, I was trying to ask God, like, what do I have to say about this, because those are the type of question you never thought about it, but then you're like, ooh, that is hard, a hard question, right? So as I was actually meditating and I'm trying to figure that out, and there is something that God was making me understand, that we also have to understand that first of all, fashion, it's more than just putting clothes together. It's a cover up of your identity, right? So like the way this generation or the word defined fashion, it's different from how God defined it. We can even see it in the book of Genesis 3. And I was like just meditating on that verse, and something was like I was shocked about how God revealed that to me, right? I was meditating on the verse, and God brought me back to the story of Adam and Eve, right? Whenever they sinned. You know what happened when they sinned? Something really happened. It was more about what God wanted to show us rather than what we saw, right? One thing that I want us to understand here is like, I was like, how come that those two people sinned? The first thing that they were worrying about is, I'm naked. Like, didn't you see anything else than your nakedness? And the first thing that happened is like, why am I naked? Right? So, and then God brought me to a place of making me understand how the devil is corrupting the identity of people through fashion, and how God is trying to recover restoration through fashion.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, look at this story. What happened is, through food, the devil was able to corrupt their identity. And when your identity is corrupted, even the way you address changes.
Right.
And this is what he was explaining to me. Sometime in this generation, the reason why fashion has been corrupted, the way we see it has been corrupted, because of what we are seeing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it made me understand that so many times when we talk about fashion, there is a lot of people, it's actually the thing that you see that even corrupts your identity. So the moment your identity is corrupted, it's easy for you to even change the way you address yourself.
Right.
Remember, the Bible says that our eyes is the light of our body, right? I mean, when I was like trying to understand that, and I even had to write it down to make sure that kind of write it down or read it, how God literally told me about this fashion. So as I was reading, it said, the issue wasn't sin. The issue was that it hit something that corrupted the way they were seeing things now. That's how I want you to understand me. I know where I'm going even with fashion, right? It's sin. And what happened is, when your identity is corrupted, even the way you address yourself change. Have you ever happened where because of sin, you were used to be like so like innocent, if I can say it. The moment you eat something or you encounter sin, things change. The way you see yourself change. The way you address yourself change. And most of the time, whenever you are corrupted and you contemplate, I can't even say it like that, with sin, or you enjoy sinning. I'm not gonna even say enjoy sinning. The moment you corrupted yourself with sin, what happened? The first thing that changes is the way you dress up.
Yeah.
Have you ever realized that?
That is actually very true. Yeah.
Right?
Because once you know your identity, you do dress modest. You dress the way because you know that, okay, I know who I am. Right? So I feel like that is I like the fact that you just said that.
right?
Yeah.
So, and then God was asking me the question. He said, why is it that even when people don't know that the way to dress up might not be good or good, but the moment they step into the presence of God, there is a type of revelation, reverence, right?
Yes.
Like you want to dress yourself in a certain way,
Right.
And God was telling me that presence, it's a place of identity,
Yeah.
right? And the place of identity, you see yourself the way God sees you.
Right.
So the moment you started seeing yourself the way God sees you, everything that was out of alignment will begin to you would just realize that this is not what God want me to do. And then He brought me to that place and He said, this is the issue now, right?
Yeah.
It's like people encounter God in the secret place, but the moment they step out, because of what they see outside, it even changes the way they dress up.
Yeah.
Right? And whenever I was trying to understand that, one thing that the Holy Spirit made me understand is, even in that story of Jesus, it's whenever you dress up based according to the alignment or alignment with God, what happens is you change completely and you start focusing on how God sees you.
Right.
But the moment even your eyes is corrupted with the things of this world, you don't see yourself the way God sees you anymore.
That's true.
You see yourself the way this generation is telling you how to see yourself. A lot of people, if I can say it today, they don't dress up because God tells them to dress up a certain way. It's because of what they see, right? You see something, you become what you see. Right? And then I'm like, okay, corruption has entered through our eyes. If we don't know, even we can see it, right? Because Adam and Eve, they did not see their nakedness.
Right.
But the moment they was corrupted, something changed in the way they saw themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the same thing with fashion. It's like the moment you interact with corruption, it changes the way you see yourself. You don't see yourself based on how God sees you. You now start seeing yourself based on what the generation tells you to see yourself. Right? And that's what I said. When your identity is corrupted, we can see it through the way you dress up.
That's deep. That's very deep.
That's how I was like, okay, how do I now where is the correlation between fashion and God?
Right.
It's fashion is actually, like I said, a cover-up of your identity. So the more I know God, the more I get to know God, the more I get to know how God wants me to be. It is my identity. And the more I know my identity, the more I know how to dress according to my identity. So whenever we see now today, it's like the identity crisis is the reason why people cannot know how to dress up, because they don't have an identity, right? Their identity is based on how people validate them, how social media is telling them, but their identity does not come from how God perceived them. And that changes a lot. Changes a lot of things. And that's why I'm saying that fashion matters as more to do about your identity than just showing up.
Right.
I show up this way because I know that God wants me to carry myself with authority. So the way I dress up changes.
I love that.
If God wants me to show boldness, the way I dress up changes because I know that in this season, this is how God wants me to show up.
Right.
But now the question is, whenever you're dressing up, from which, like, where is coming that revelation of how you're dressing up? Or you just want people to see, clock it, you beautiful, like, see that shape, see that things. I'm not saying that it's easy, that journey. The only thing that I'm seeing is your eyes is corrupted because of what you see. That's why you cannot dress up based on the alignment with God anymore. You are dressing up based on what you're seeing on social media, which is very dangerous.
Absolutely. I love that. So for you, how would you define beauty standards based on your business?
I would say beauty is alignment.
Okay. Elaborate.
Right. When I say beauty is alignment, I would say that the beauty standard of this generation has nothing to do with alignment, like I said.
Yeah.
The beauty standard of this generation is validation. It's been seen, lost, right? And when we talk about that, you will see a lot of people. And then so funny is that God was telling me, many people, they will, buy and security than destiny. And I was like, God, what do you mean by that? It's like, whenever you're buying online, you're not buying a clothes, you're buying your identity. So if you're insecure about your identity, that will even show based on how you're making your purchase. But whenever you buy destiny and purpose, you can tell. So when I say beauty now, I'm seeing standard of God. Because people will tell you beautiful, it's because you have a pretty face, but your character sucks. Right? And I'm saying myself because God has been working on me in that part and is still doing it. Right? Because I'm not saying that no one is perfect, but the most important thing is to fully surrender yourself to God, because loving God is another thing, but surrendering yourself, it's also another thing. Whenever you surrender yourself to God, it even changes the way you see your perceptions, if I can say it like that, right? Your perception change because of how you see yourself now. You're not seeing yourself through the lens of validation anymore. Now you're seeing yourself through the lens of God, which is even changes the standard of beauty that you have. Now I would say that maybe back then my standard of beauty was to show up. I just want to show off something. But now it's like I'm doing it because I know what God is expecting me to do. So like I just don't want people to just even feel like, the standard of beauty is building, feeding people insecurity, feeding people validation. The standard of beauty is you are so aligned with God that everything that you are not doing is encountering the favor of God. And that changes a lot. That whenever people are seeing you, you carry the presence. You are not carrying attention of people, the presence, and that changes the vibe. Whenever you enter a place, you can change the vibe because you are not entertaining people with insecurity anymore. You are not entertaining your insecurity anymore. You are not entertaining the presence and the aura that you are getting from the presence of God. Maybe back then I would do things because I know that if I do this, people will look at me. But now I am, positioning myself not for people to look at me, but for people to receive from what I carry. Beauty has changed a lot. When we see this generation, we see a lot of things that is happening. I'm telling myself, whoa, slow down. This is not the standard of God anymore. And I was even telling it to a friend. I'm like, this generation has changed the way even, things are supposed to be and the way God orchestrated for things to be because of what we are seeing. That's what I was saying. The reason why a lot of people are corrupted has nothing to do with so many things based on what you see. And the devil knows it, right? Today's society now, corruption doesn't enter through sin anymore, through what you see, right? And then I was like, let me go even deep. And then I was like trying to understand this because God was like speaking to me about the evil age. And I was like, let me go deep and trying to understand what does it mean. Because that also changes the standard of beauty. We have to tell that changes the standard of beauty. I was trying to understand the evil age. And God made me understand that the evil age, the purpose is to corrupt people's identity. Right? And so I was like, okay. The devil knows that from the beginning, the way he corrupted the identity of Adam and Eve was through food, right? But now it's like, okay, what can I do to make people have a, identity crisis, only without even them consenting to it? And then I realize, the Bible says your eyes, if your eyes is corrupted, your body will be in dysfunction. Then I realize, like, okay, let me now create something that will make them corrupt their identity through what they see. Then now, and I was trying to understand, I was telling God, what is that system? Yeah. And he said technology. True. So we have to go through the root of what is happening for us to be even able to fix what is happening right now. Yeah. Right? And I understood the root, it's technology. Sometimes we're just saying technology as we're seeing it, but the purpose is to corrupt the identity of people. Right. They will exactly send you the things that you want to see. Because the issue is, like, they don't want you to understand things from the perception of God. They want you to understand things from the perception of how the devil wants you to understand. The devil knows that if it comes and tells you, do this, you wouldn't do it. So now what is he doing is trying to create system around you that will make you do something without you even thinking that it's wrong. But you think, like, I like it. But the reality is, like, the purpose is to corrupt your identity. You know how depression entered? Depression entered because you are looking things from the perception of the world. You don't even forgetting the perception of God anymore. And then now God was telling me, this is where the issue started. Whenever we step out of the alignment with God, we are setting ourselves for failure. And we're corrupting ourselves. Yeah. So let's go back to that and trying to fix it.
I love that a lot. So for you, what is the most challenging thing about having your own business, especially in the fashion industry?
I think for my own self, by myself, is I was telling God, am I doing the right thing, or I'm just doing it because I like to do it? Right? That was very challenging and still challenging till today. I'm not gonna lie. Because sometimes you may do things because you know that it's gonna look good, but when God sees it, it doesn't like it. This is the most challenging. And I was telling God, I don't want to do something that I know is challenging, where I'm putting my faith, it's very challenging. But I don't want to do something that will make me step out of my alignment with you. Right. So the most challenging for me, it's that, right? It's, am I doing it because people are actually, praising me, or I'm doing it because I'm still doing what you want me to do. Right. Me, I was telling myself, when I started my clothing brand, it was nothing about clothing. At first, yes, but whenever God started to shift my mindset, I understood that this was a calling for me as well. Right. It's, you are not just clothing women or people, but you are shifting the way they see themselves.
That's very
It's
true.
Identity right there, When a person knows their identity, they will walk into a room with boldness, because they know who they are. They know what they're doing, right? And then for me, I'm like, am I actually doing it? I'm actually feeding their insecurity, or am I helping their identity?
Right.
So this is something that every day I'm praying and I'm telling God, I don't want to do this just because I know that I can do it, but I want to do it because I know you are making me like a vessel through my fashion business. I want to be able to do it, but I also want to be able to, when I do it, someone else is regaining their confidence. Someone else is going back to the presence of God and seeing themselves the way God sees them. I want people to, when they see themselves, will say, hey, I am bold because I know that I'm serving a bold God. So the way I address myself has to change, because I don't want to address myself with a lot of insecurity because this is what society is telling me. But I want to step up and do it because God wants me to do this.
Right. I love that. And I want to also give you a special shout out, because I remembered it was the first week of January, and you hosted a networking event with Yaldah Issa. And being also a guest at that particular event, you definitely changed a lot of dynamics with a lot of women. How did it feel seeing all of those women in your suits and your clothing?
Quite honest, I didn't even think that I was going to make it. Like, honestly, for me, I want to be so much obedient to God that because of my obedience, God will do everything, the rest, right? And honestly, for me, whenever I was doing it, I just heard God say something. That's the only thing. And the instruction that I received from God was so much. I was even worried. I'm like, God, why would you want me to do it this way? Yeah. Because you know that it was not gonna work. Like, why? Yeah. But I realized that when you align, then God attracts. Right? And the most important thing is for me to be able to actually see women entering their new, era of the life, wearing my suit, not because it's just a cloth, but because it's actually make them remember that I am a person of value before God. Yeah, whenever they just are deciding to buy something from me, I want them to feel like they can empower people because God has sent them to those places. Yeah.
But your suits are very empowering.
Yeah.
Very much so. I remember being able to wear your the first suit that I got from you when I bought from you. And I remember being on stage because I also translate, and being on stage with that suit, boldness. It was very much so. So your clothing line is very much so a reflection of the God inside of you. I know that you say you fight every single day to try to figure out, okay, God, is this really what you want me to do? But it is. I can assure you that it has blessed so many women, and a lot of men also came to me and they're like, oh my God, did she only do it for women? Like, I want one too, and things like that.
I'm trying.
So yes, so she is trying, guys. She is trying to do a men's line as well.
I'm trying, but
so,
God will.
I love it. So what advice would you give someone that wants to go into the fashion world but does not know how?
First of all, know your identity.
Right.
Because if you don't, you will lose yourself trying to do things because you want to please people.
Absolutely.
But you actually don't know that it's an assignment that God is sending you, especially from God perception, right. I would say, because I'm standing on business right now.
Yes, girl.
I'm standing on business. It's about God or no one else. Yeah. Right? No, like I would just say that you should know your identity. Right. And trying from the best of opportunity that you will get, make sure that it aligns with what God wants you to do, because sometimes you just seeing things or money on things like that, you're forgetting that actually it's not money, because it will come. Right. We gotta be prepared for that. It's the devil, when he knows that you're trying to do something, he will make sure that it will make sure that somehow it corrupts you with money, fame, and all that. Yeah. But knowing your identity, knowing that I will not betray God for money or fame, is the most important thing. Yeah. And always surrender yourself to the presence of God every day, daily, right? And ask God to give you the strength, because I won't lie, this life, it's not easy if you don't ask God for mercy, because sometimes you can even tell yourself, because I pray I can do this, because I pray I'm able to stand, but the reality is no one can stand if God doesn't give them the strength. Right. So this is even a way to tell people, even when you think that you're trying, don't try it with your own strength, but rely on God. Right. And everything, even fashion, I'm just giving in general, even fashion or everything, when you do with your own strength, I'm telling you, you will not be able to make it. Right. Even when you want to make decision with your own strength, you will give up and results will not even come sometimes. But whenever you give yourself to the Holy Spirit, give yourself to God, and ask God to show you the way. I know it may not be this. I know that sometimes, you think that this is not for me, but if you're trying to see from God perception and trying to obey God, I think that everything, God will be with you and help you through it.
I love that. So how do you choose your models to model your brand?
How do I choose a model? I won't even gonna lie. I really want to be honest and vulnerable.
Absolutely.
I think that at first I was just trying to find people that know how to dress up and know how to put the people together. They know how to pose and all that. But later on, God even started changing the way I was seeing it. Right? And I believe for me, in everything that I do, there is an assignment why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
And then based on the assignment, you also have to know who fit for the assignment. Because like not everybody fits for it. Yeah, and it's something that I still today, I'm like, oh, I have to give it to God. Because when people don't fit, instead of bringing results, they will bring chaos. Right? They will bring chaos. So for me, I would say now, based on the assignment, I know how to choose people. Right? I'm not choosing people because of that. Maybe one day God will tell me, you have a message. This message is this. You actually bring people that you know that will reflect the message. Yeah, so this is something that I decided and vowed to do before God.
Absolutely. That's a big thing too, because especially you received the message, right? You received the why that you were doing Yaldah Issa. So you also want to have people that are in line with your calling as well. So I love that you said that. And lastly, what does Chosen for Greatness mean to you?
Yeah, okay. What I would say for me is a generation that God is setting to impact. Right? It's not just greatness because of fame, but greatness because of alignment and also what God is sending you to do. Right? So for me, it's what I would say is people that knows their identity, they are stepping on business. Right? Not for fame, but because they have an assignment.
I love that. Well, Valencia, thank you so much for being on Chosen for Greatness. It was definitely an honor. I will also be listing Valencia's Instagram and also Yaldah Issa's Instagram as well. Do not forget to DM her, purchase, and walk with boldness, of course. So this has been episode 12 of Chosen for Greatness. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, bye.